heard what you wanted and we made you an Evo video! Picture this. It's 1993. We're in Japan. You pull up to a stoplight in your brand new Ferrari. You're probably listening to Whoop, there it is. And what pulls up next to you on the line but a four-door sedan with fog lights and a big-ass spoiler. The little sedan next to you, apparently not understanding that you're in a Ferrari, revs his engine. It's so cute. You laugh.
Good one.
Light turns green, and suddenly...
What just happened?
You, my friend, just met yourself a Lancer Evolution, and your life will never be the same again. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. The Mitsubishi Lancer was introduced in 1973. Small, fuel efficient, kind of boring. In the 70s and 80s, Mitsubishi decided they wanted to improve their global image with motorsport. And their sport of choice? Rally. They gave the little Lancer a bigger motor and took it racing, and it did well. This was the dawn of Mitsubishi becoming one of the most iconic names in rally. By the late 80s, Mitsubishi was developing a Group B program with an all-wheel drive version of their Starion. Yeah, that Group B. The Starion prototype performed well, but before the car was fully developed, Group B was outlawed following a number of fatal crashes in 1985 and 86. Mitsubishi was left with an almost fully developed race car, but nowhere to race it. So if you're Mitsubishi, what do? Well, you make lemonade. You take the drivetrain from the Starion, you toss it under a Galant, and you enter it in Group A. Duh. The Galant performed well from 1988 until 1992, but European rally stages suddenly got too tight for a big fat sedan, and a number of manufacturers switched to smaller, more agile platforms. Ford replaced the Sierra with the Escort, Subaru the Legacy with the Impreza, Toyota the Celica with the Corolla, and Mitsubishi the Galant with the fucking Lancer, baby. Guess who's back in town, Dad? And I have an earring now. In true Mitsubishi fashion, they took the guts of the Galant and put it in the smaller, lighter Lancer. But they couldn't just call it a Lancer. I mean, the Lancer is a boring economy car. You're driving a project car, baby. Mitsubishi's project car. This thing had all-wheel drive, a big turbo, racing suspension, aero. It's like an evolution of the Lancer. That's a good name. Let's call it that. This is the Lancer Evolution. To conform with Class A regulations, 2,500 road cars had to be produced. In October of 1992, the first Lancer Evolution 1s showed up in the Japanese showrooms. The initial run sold out in less than 3 days. The RS version came with no power windows, no power seats, no anti-lock brakes, no rear wiper, and steel wheels. Basically no frills, but what it did come with was all-wheel drive and a 244 horsepower version of the legendary 4G63 engine. This motor is so good that upgraded versions of it powered every single generation of Evo except for the final one. In 1993, Mitsubishi tweaked the Evo 1 into the Evo 2. There weren't a lot of big upgrades on this one. Lighter sway bars, bigger spoiler, about 10 more horsepower. Pretty standard upgrades for the second year of a build. Our wallet's still kind of hurting from the engine swap. My wife is gonna freaking kill me if I spend any more money on this car. I should also note that meanwhile on the rally circuit, Mitsubishi's arch rival Subaru is friggin' killing it right now. Colin McRae can do no wrong. Mitsubishi, undeterred, kept working, and in 1995 they introduced the kind of new but pretty improved Evo 3. New look, bigger holes in the front for better cooling, bigger intercooler for better cooling, bigger spoiler, new side skirts, different bumpers, higher compression in the engine, and a bigger turbo. Do not tell my wife I spent money on a bigger turbo, she's gonna friggin' kill me. The first big redesign came in 96 with the Evo 4. The 4RS came with a new turbo and active yaw control, which is basically a robot that tells the car when to send torque to each individual wheel.
Go that way.
Most importantly though, it also got 2 huge fog lights built into the front bumper. How are people gonna know that it's a rally car? You can't see my active yaw control. It was at this point that Mitsubishi's hard work started to really pay off on the rally stage. Finnish racing legend Tommy McKinnon won the WRC Drivers' Championship 4 times behind the wheel of an Evo. Subaru, I will politely ask you to suck it. The The Evo 5 and 6 were more or less the same as the 4. After all, this is a build. In 2001, the Evo 7 moved into a new, slightly heavier chassis and introduced a host of suspension and engine tweaks. Most importantly, however, the Evo 7 brought with it active center differential, which in combination with the active yaw control allowed and I'm not sure if this is the right engineering term. I'm gonna try and pronounce this, bear with me. Better four-wheel skids. While the world watched the Evo race through the woods, we guys in the US were getting fucking sidelined. Americans were chomping at the collective bit for the nimble little four-door sedan with the big wing and the fog lights and the turbo. When Gran Turismo was introduced in 1997, both the Evo 3 and 4 were included in the game, and Americans fell in love with it. When GT2 was released in 1999, it brought with it rally tracks, and of course, the newly redesigned Evo 6. Now North America could see what made the Evo series so devastating on the circuit, and we wanted them. And if that wasn't enough, Initial D happened. The show was an introduction not only to drifting, but the entire Japanese automotive lifestyle. It was the first time a kid like me from Louisville, Kentucky saw that street racing was more than just a bunch of fat rednecks drag racing their Stangs and Camaros across the bridge. And if Takumi had such a hard time defeating the Emperor team, which was made entirely of Evos, then this car must be pretty serious. I mean, I want one. Top 5 for sure. In 2003, the year I graduated from high school, the US finally got what we were begging for. The newly tweaked Evo 8 made its way to North America, thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Lightened again and with new Bilstein suspension, the Evo 8 adapted well to its new environment. It changed the game, and despite the American version lacking active yaw control, it sold well. There were numerous special editions of the 8, including the devastatingly fast FQ series. FQ, of course, stands for f***ing quick. Top Gear showed the FQ 400 could keep up with a Lamborghini Murcielago. You, Kanye.
Okay, Lamborghini Mercy.
I have an Evo. Debuting in 2005, the Evo 9 continued the Evo's legacy of tight, corner-hugging speed, and it was now fully available through North America, Japan, and Europe. Using the Evo 9 platform, Mitsubishi continued to experiment. They produced not only a 6-speed rally edition, but also a limited-run Evo 9 station wagon. 2007 saw the final incarnation of the Evo 10. Despite lingering issues with Mitsubishi's financial footing, they pushed ahead with the car, and it was a fitting final model. The exterior for the first time was designed in Europe, and the majority of the production cars now topped out at 280 horsepower. But it was fat, and it didn't have the 4G63 engine that powered every one of its predecessors. The Evo 10 literally didn't have the heart of an Evo. The Evo 10 was produced for almost 10 years, and throughout that time, few, if any, major updates were made. In 2016, the Evo was finally retired, and much to many people's dismay, the Lancer name and with it, the Evo's legacy will most likely be reincarnated as a crossover. I feel like I'm gonna puke, but I also feel like I'm gonna shit too. So I don't know if you guys wanna, should I take my mic off? Despite this, for many, the enduring legacy of the Evo series is one of pure fun. It's a race car. It's hard to drive, the clutch is too stiff, but it has 4 doors and enough trunk space to fit a decent amount of groceries. Let me buy one, Jessica! It's as if Mitsubishi bought a boring 4-door Lancer in 1992 and then improved on it a little bit every year. But eventually they ran out of money and had to sell their project. Here's hoping one day they can figure their finances out and build a new one. That's everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Mitsubishi Evo. We're gonna start doing giveaways, so let us know what you would want us to give you. What's your favorite generation of Evo? When was the first time you saw an Evo? Would you rather have an Evo or an STI? Who can blow the biggest clouds, Evo owners or STI owners? Should I get my teeth fixed?